trying to track that look like that. 5,000 every time.
Sorry.
Cut. Good morning, you guys, and happy Friday. I'm super excited to have you guys joining us today for a really special conversation. So right here in our Carteret County community, right here in Beaufort, we have an incredible nonprofit doing powerful work to help children and families heal from trauma in our community. Okay, to start it off, could you guys please introduce yourselves, share a little fun facts about yourselves, and what led you to start Goodness and Glory Farms?
Sure. My name is Nicki Fisher, and I am the co-founder of Goodness and Glory Farm. I was actually born and raised in Carteret County, and I am mama to 6 children. We have a homestead with goats and chickens and ducks. So this is my good friend,
Heather Holmes. I'm also the co-founder of Goodness and Glory Farm. I'm a mom to 7 children. I have 1 boy, 6 girls. My husband brought us back to Carteret County as the home health and hospice chaplain at the hospital. And we used to pasture here many years ago and just felt a draw like we were supposed to be back in this area.
So what led you guys to start Goodness and Glory Farm?
That is a very loaded question. Simplest answer is we are both survivors of trauma in our own ways, and our families are survivors of traumas in their own ways. And our family found healing through an equine mentorship program in Raleigh. Nicki and her family found healing by getting outside and starting their homestead.
Mm-hmm.
Both of my parents were going through cancer at the time, and I was researching everything as far as our food system and like what's going in our bodies. Why are we all being diagnosed with cancer? I mean, I have a hope that I know where I'm going when I die, but losing my parents was really a scary time for me. What I found was I actually would go outside in nature, get in my garden and pray to God. Like I could see through God's creation who God is, like his personality and how he takes care of me and how he will take care of my family. And even if we do die, I have a hope in him. And so being able to grasp those things is kind of my why as far as Goodness and Glory goes. I think children need a habit of getting outside in creation. I think our children are missing a lot by being on phones constantly, social media, all the things. And getting outside in God's creation is one way that they can find that hope that we have as Christians.
Most definitely.
And just have that experience to feel grounded and to be outside.
Absolutely.
For someone hearing about Goodness and Glory for the first time, how would you explain that in just a few sentences?
I would say that we pair hurting children with mentors, and those mentors take the children, and we use the animals and the experience of being on a farm as a conduit, as a way to show them coping mechanisms and really ultimately God's goodness,
right,
and his glory. It's all around us, and he can be seen in everything. And I think sometimes whenever people are like, oh, animals, horses, I mean, how can you find God in that? But horses are very receptive to people and their emotions and how they feel, and like it is just incredibly amazing that they can sense so much about you and you're not even touching them or interacting with them yet. So I think a lot of times you will find, and even in our own experience, we found that the animals would react in ways that my child needed. God used them to start that healing process.
Yeah.
So
it gives that sense of connection.
Yes.
That they may otherwise be missing.
Right.
They kind of show you too some of the things that you're lacking. Our horse trainer was with us, with the horses, and the trainer was like, look, you've got to be confident around these horses. Like, they know that you're not. And one thing Heather was doing was she just wasn't breathing. She was just
hold my breath. And I do it all the time. I realized after she pointed that out, she's like, he realizes you're holding your breath. You've got to breathe. I encounter a situation that makes me feel uncomfortable. I hold my breath. And sometimes you just have to remember you have to breathe. Like,
and that's just like a natural reaction.
I hold my breath. And so like I try to make a conscious effort now to breathe. If you think about it, like you go to the science of it, when you breathe, you get all that oxygen and it goes around and it gets to your brain, and then you can think clearer and better, no matter what the situation is. And you know, here I am, I'm depriving myself of that ability, you know, because I'm holding my breath tense because something makes me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's nice to, as we are preparing, as we are training, as we are going online, we have a mentor for us to, as we start this ministry, we're learning so much. And so that's helping us to know, like, maybe what the kids will need too in the future, you know, is us going through it as well, you know.
Right, because you're learning yourselves how to cope. Going through that and having that personal experience will help you guys further connect with children and be able to help them work through those emotions and feelings and through the animals as well.
Definitely.
Even like the breathing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's how you were able to cope and learn how to cope with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing that when we were doing the volunteer training committee, one of the workers mentioned that these kids won't talk. They will not talk to you, and it's okay. It's okay. So they have all these big emotions, and you want to help them get it out, but at the same time, it doesn't necessarily need to come out toward you. So it may be while they're sitting there brushing that horse,
they're starting to work it out. So there's resiliency skills that help you to bounce back from trauma.
Right.
So we can teach them about trust, but until they learn trust using the animal, and then we can back it up with what God's word says about trust.
Yep.
You know, then that really kind of drives it home and hopefully cements it so that they'll be able to not only use it now, but if they experience a traumatic event in the future, they can turn back to what they've learned with us here at Goodness and Glory Farm, and they can use it even as an adult. And even in Carteret County, we have such a problem with drug use. And I mean, currently right now, our children in school are having issues with suicide. Like, that's heartbreaking. And these are all things that could possibly be tied back to unresolved traumas that they've never learned how to deal with. It's medicating or taking care of the hurt or the pain in a way that they feel like they can't find any other way. So let's teach them ways that they can heal and deal with those things in their life. How do you come out of that and not let it be something that continues to affect you the rest of your life?
Like we said, in our community, down east, Beaufort, a lot of kids grow up, they don't have somebody to look up to, they don't have somebody to talk to, they might not even have that much family to rely on. Being able to learn those coping skills and taking that trauma and turning it into something positive.
There was a statistic in one of our trainings where they said if you have that one trusted adult, which I know doesn't sound like much, but like some kids don't have it. That one trusted adult, that if they need to share that mentor will be paired with them and will be able to walk them through things that they're going through.
Are you guys going to be working as some of the mentors?
Nikki and I, well, we are going to do just about anything we need to do.
Yeah.
Like, believe so much in Goodness and Glory because we've seen it.
Right.
That we honestly will do whatever needs to be done.
Do y'all have any mentors lined up right now?
We don't. We do have a application that will go live before that, so that our mentors feel completely comfortable with our animals. They feel completely comfortable with how the scope and what a session would look like out on the farm for a kid.
What comes to my mind is, especially with kids being in school, they don't have that one-on-one with a teacher, or if they need help, because you have probably 20 to 30 kids versus one adult. So what does that look like with the mentorship program?
Initially, we're just going to start out with one night a week. We're going to do 2 kids and 2 sessions. So at most 4 kids that we'll be helping. What bothers me the most is the fact that I know there's going to be way more kids that need help. So we're also talking about the possibility of doing a bi-weekly or once a month group session for the kids who maybe don't get placed in a one-on-one session, so that they still get some Goodness and Glory Farm and mentorship, but it may not be on the scale of 1-to-1 at this point. We want to make sure that whatever we put out there is our very best efforts. We kind of want to start small, even though we know the need is great.
For safety as well, and you're working with animals, and soon you'll be working with horses. So
like all the group sessions, they probably were of activity based.
Right.
You know, come out, find a tour, that kind of thing, do that, work on a project maybe. those kinds of things.
With Goodness and Glory Farms starting up and the amount of need that Carteret County has, have you seen any other resources close by or in the area?
Not to this magnitude. Our program is going to be free, and I don't know of anything like that this side of 95. We were in Greenville, and we would drive all the way to Raleigh to participate in a program. But I believe we're the only thing that serves and will serve Carteret County and hopefully at some point the surrounding areas.
Yeah, because even for kids' activities in Carteret County, there's not a whole lot offered
Right.
as far as entertainment or, safe options for kids to hang out, to learn, just to do in general.
Right.
Yeah. If you guys are comfortable with sharing, since you do have your 6 and 7 children, how have you seen that work in their individual lives?
Just recently, I was telling Heather that my 11-year-old came up with the idea of having a lemonade stand for Goodness and Glory. And as much as we are fundraising, it is so hard. It is so hard to ask people for money. So anytime anybody wants to reach out and help, and you reached out to us, it is so, so encouraging. But I told her, I said, that was probably like the best Mother's Day gift I could have gotten. Because, I mean, he was out there, he set the table out, he was selling lemonade. I mean, he's made $36 so that he can, and he could have kept that money,
Absolutely.
and so $36 donation, and he was out there handing out the little rack cards, and he was telling everybody and pointing over here, and he's like, Goodness and Glory Farm, we want to help them get a horse shelter, and it was just really encouraging to me to see the passion behind that. Honestly, sometimes we feel like we're a little crazy for doing this, but
Definitely.
we feel like God, this is what God wants us to do. And the second we start questioning, something happens that's just confirmation that
We are where we need to be. I think I'm to the point now that I don't even question it anymore.
Yes.
We did not live in Carteret County anymore. We were pastoring, and we just felt like this is where we need to be. And finally, we just pushed the button, and
you were drawn back.
Oh yeah.
I remember just being absolutely petrified that we were doing something so different, so new, so out of the box.
Yes.
And my kids, though, were all on board. I have older adult children, and they contribute financially. Like, that is their choice. They every month
it
are
comes in.
providing to help out with Goodness and Glory. That makes my heart feel good. I know Nicki and I tend to be the face. We tend to call the shots. We tend to make the decisions, but behind us stand our children and our husbands. 100%. They all are helping take care of animals, helping to provide. When we have activities that we've been out in the community, they want to be there as well. They want to help us with that.
Giving up their Saturdays.
Yeah.
And it's not just the kids, it is the husbands too.
Oh,
like Heather
definitely.
said. And
Our husbands are very supportive.
I would not have been able to say yes if Dana was not behind me. Them supporting me definitely gave me the push to take that first step.
And Wes was like, just do it. And I'm like, I'm too scared. I can't do this. And he's like, just do it.
Like, look at where you guys are.
Right. And within a month or two, the land right beside us.
Yeah.
It's 4 acres comes on the market, and
we had an EIN.
the community came almost immediately. Bach Moran is the one who owns the property, and they were like, you can use it.
Yeah.
Free. And so we really appreciate the box and what they have offered us. I mean, so giving. And that was just another reminder that this is God's will. He is providing.
Yes.
I mean, 4 acres provided just like that.
And let's talk about when you guys started that. So when did you get the land?
We did our corporation
Yeah.
for the state of North Carolina in November of 2023. And then the land went for sale almost immediately after that.
Yeah.
And that
It's
opened
like
up the
January.
doors
Right.
for the conversation for Nicki to have with neighbors, because they're like, oh, you're going to buy that. It's right next door to you. And she was like, well, actually, we're looking at starting this nonprofit, and we're going to need land for that, so I'm not looking at it, that kind of thing. And so then the conversation ended up,
Do you want to use it? And I was like,
yeah,
that would be amazing.
they've just been so gracious to let us
Yes.
change it into what Goodness and Glory needs to be, and we're just so incredibly amazed and thankful for that. But
And I'll show you guys what the land looked like when they first bought it. The process of businesses coming out. I know Travis And Patterson with Coastwide Trailers, they've come out, they've helped clear the land.
They took the trees down in like a week.
So we got our insurance, we signed our lease, and you guys started the work.
3 days.
Well, like it was all boom, boom, boom.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Quite literally.
Back
So
to
much
back.
happening. I
Yes.
was like, oh.
Yeah.
It was so much.
Community
Yeah.
came together. Like, we have a friend, the Buttrees have allowed us to use their tractor to be able to clear off the land.
Yeah. I mean, what a
but,
huge blessing, you know?
We had a nice work day where 50 people showed up and helped
Yeah.
us
Yes.
put the fence up. Like,
Yes.
it's
We-
just
I mean,
been
Who could have imagined that you could put a fence up that
a
much
4
fence
acre fence.
Yeah.
in a day?
In one
And
day.
because people rallied and came out and did it.
Mhm.
We made it happen.
So far since 23, you guys have had a lot of help from the community.
So much help.
Yes.
And it's such an encouragement because when you feel like you're crazy, but you have these people offering so much, then you're like, oh, well, maybe I'm not. Like,
Right.
They support us. They see the vision. They know the need here in Carteret County, and they're willing to help. They're willing to give their time, their money, their efforts,
100%.
and it's so encouraging.
Let's talk a little bit about what's left. Like where we are now and what's left to get started, because I know this is going to be an ongoing project
For sure,
years and
for
years,
sure.
even
Right.
while you guys are up and running.
Right.
Let's talk about the next steps.
Pasture.
Pasture is the
Pasture's
biggest
next
thing.
step.
Mhm.
We would like to have it growing for at least 6 months.
6 months
Mhm.
before
So-
we bring the horses out. We want well-established pasture grass.
Yes.
So that is our first big item on the checklist, is making sure that we get that pasture done.
Okay. What's next?
Shelters next. Horse shelter.
Horse shelter. So before we can move the horses out here, we have to have a horse shelter.
Right.
We're currently looking at getting garden shed
Right.
and then building a lean-to off the side where we can close the two ends and make it like a run-in. We would love to have the check-in shed as well.
Mhm.
That is not something we absolutely have to have. It would be an added welcoming piece
Yep.
to the property. It would be a great area for us to meet with the mentors. It will give us a safe space to talk about activity, and pray for the family and pray for the child that's coming out. Once the session is finished, it also gives us that privacy to decompress. Maybe you've learned something really hard-hitting on the heart, and it gives us a chance to kind of talk through it. And you park over at Goodness and Glory. Those parallel parking spots look straight at where we want to put the check-in silo, and so you automatically can see comfort and know where you're supposed to go, and that's comforting, especially if you've got a kid dealing with trauma. We want them to just feel that welcome.
Not intimidating.
Right,
Not like,
inviting.
oh, I'm in a new place,
Comfort,
I'm
like,
scared.
Here you are, come on in.
Yes,
This is it. This is where
Yes.
you're supposed to go. Guardians, parents are supposed to stay with their child on the property. It also gives a place for the parent guardian to sit. So like, when we did our program, because we lived in Greenville, we packed up everybody and took them. Not only, did I have somebody come in to sit and pray and listen with me, but then there were play pals that were, teenagers, young adults, and they would come and they would get my other kids and they would go do things like sidewalk chalk, and they had little briar horses and they would pull out the little barn and they would get to play with those kinds of things, and they gave them activities and things to do while I was talking with the prayer partner listener and my other child was actually participating in the program.
Okay, so we're going to bring it back to boundaries because, like you guys said, there's only so much time, money, and resources your two families are able to put towards Goodness and Glory Farms. So we are inviting the community to help. Starting today, you guys, we have a materials and donations drive. This will be going on for 30 days, wrapping that up in 10th. Once we get all the donations and the materials together, July 12th, we are going to have a day of work. That is a Saturday. We will be starting at 9 o'clock until we finish up for the day. We will have lunch provided for you guys, and we will have a sign up.
We will have a link QR code that you'll be able to follow, and on that you'll have the website will give you all the menus to put in your information and register you and whomever you want to bring with you, and you can also give us a few details about things that you want to bring with you to use that day. So.
Right. So we will have a list of materials and tools that are still needed available to be dropped off. I will have more information as well as where the drop-offs will be. Tell us a little more about how people can donate financially outside of these.
So we have a website, Goodness and Glory Farm goodnessandgloryfarm.com. And if you go there, of course, you can learn more about us. And there's also a link where you can choose to donate, and that will take you to our secure donation platform, and you can donate that way. It also has our address. Our P.O. box is on the website, and if you want to instead mail a check, you can do that through our P.O. box.
Okay.
We're so ready to start seeing children. What really breaks my heart is that the local pediatrician's office already has a list of referrals for us, and they were ready to give that to us a year or two ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago this July.
It can't just be us. We cannot do this on our own. We need our community. We need people like you that are willing to put in an effort and start drives like this, or like put forth the effort for work days, or
Bring their talents and abilities.
So besides financially, there's several ways to give your support, whether it's sharing by word of mouth, on social media, financially, resources, just time, so that we can put our hands and dig our hands into this project, so that Goodness and Glory Farm can start seeing and helping these children. If the community does have any questions, how can they reach out to you guys?
You can email us at info@goodnessandgloryfarm.com.
Okay.
And they can also call or text us at 252-515-0082.
515. Right?
Let's hear it one more time. Phone number.
252-515-0082.
For our workday on July 12th, we will be starting at 9 o'clock until we are done for the day. Lunch will be provided, so stay tuned for those details. So we will be starting on the horse stables so that Goodness and Glory can start.
Yes. Sounds great.
Excited.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.